You hear it before you see it. That deep, uneven rumble that turns every head on the block. It's not just a motorcycle, it's history breathing through chrome and iron. This is the Harley-Davidson Shovelhead. Loud, flawed, untamed, and still the soul of American motorcycling. Harley-Davidson introduced the Shovelhead in 1966 as a successor to the Panhead, in response to rising expectations from riders and competition from other brands. The Panhead had served Harley well, but as bikes got heavier, more chrome, accessories, fairings, and highway riding became more common, the demand for better performance grew. The shovel's name comes from the shape of its rocker covers. They were said to resemble inverted coal shovels. That naming stuck even if the resemblance is more poetic than precise. One writer joked that whoever named it must have done a lot of shoveling in their spare time. Technically, the Shovelhead kept the same basic 1200cc displacement initially, but introduced shallower combustion chambers, larger valve drop, improved porting, stronger valves and pistons, altogether giving about 10 horsepower more than the Panhead. These changes made it better suited for long rides and heavier bikes, especially touring models. Now, if you think that was just another old Harley motor, stick around. The Shovelhead story only gets wilder from here. Hit subscribe because the next chapter is where this engine turns from an upgrade into a legend. The Shovelhead didn't launch in calm seas. Harley was under pressure in the 1960s. Imports were improving, riders' expectations were climbing, and the business side was shaky. In 1969, Harley was bought by AMF, American Machine and Foundry, a company better known for bowling machines and motorcycles. Quality control started sliding during the AMF years, and riders often complained of oil leaks, overheating, and inconsistent build standards. But here's where the legend grows. Despite those problems, the Shovelhead powered Harleys to the 1970s and into the 80s. It wasn't just an engine, it was the backbone of models like the Electroglide, Superglide, and the touring machines that shaped Harley's image. Many say that the shovel era is partly what kept Harley from fading away entirely. Even Cycle World dynoed a 1982 Shovelhead model and got about 51 horsepower at 5,000 RPM, with roughly 62 feet-pound of torque at 4,000 RPM. Not bad for a design that originated in the mid-60s. For many riders, that's proof the engine wasn't just nostalgia. They could still move. Let's be honest, the Shovelhead wasn't flawless. It had quirks that riders still laugh about or curse over at wrench nights. One persistent issue was oil consumption and leakage. Many owners reported losing a quart of oil every 250 to 500 miles, sometimes more. The shallow fin count, only 10 cooling fins per cylinder, didn't help with heat dissipation. Add to that the shift in fuel quality during the 70s, lower octane gas during the oil crisis, and the shovel's vulnerability to detonation and overheating became more severe. Also, in later years, some shovels got electronic ignition systems that were quirky and unreliable for early adopters. Many owners replaced them with point systems for reliability. But those problems don't kill legends, they make them human. Riders learned to upgrade valve seats to hardened ones, replace the one-piece oil scraper rings with three-piece designs, and modify oil pumps. Those mods often brought performance and reliability closer to what came later on the Evolution engines. And the thing is, those challenges turned into opportunities. Parts manufacturers sprung up, custom shops grew, and the Shovelhead culture flourished. The 1970s were wild. Bell-bottoms, disco, and a Harley engine that refused to behave but refused to die. The Shovelhead became the heartbeat of the custom chopper scene. Riders didn't just ride them, they built art out of them. The long, raked-out choppers you saw roaring through Easy Rider and garage builds across America, many of those were Shovelheads. The engine had the right proportions, big fins, muscular stance, and a mechanical honesty that made it look perfect naked in a hardtail frame. And because Harley used it for nearly 2 decades, parts were everywhere. You could build a bike with junkyard finds and a beer budget if you knew your way around a wrench. Builders loved that the shovel had personality. It shook, it leaked, it sometimes coughed before it ran, but once it fired, it had a rhythm and sound unlike anything else. That rawness made riders feel connected. As one old school mechanic once said, a shovelhead will tell you when it's happy and when it's about to blow. If there's one thing that kept people hooked, it's the sound. The shovelhead's exhaust note isn't a smooth purr. It's a syncopated, irregular lop-lop-lop that feels alive. The 45-degree V-twin with its long stroke and single-pin crank gives it that heartbeat-like rhythm. It's not just sound, it's presence. You can feel the shovelhead through your boots before you even hear it. A Harley tech once joked that shovelheads tune themselves with vibration, and honestly, there's some truth to that. The whole bike feels like it's in a living conversation with the road. The soundtrack became the anthem of American motorcycling. On small-town weekends and desert highways, that uneven idle became shorthand for rebellion. To this day, aftermarket exhaust companies try to replicate that exact throb, and they never quite nail it. You can't fake the heartbeat of steel and sweat. Let's talk about the AMF years, 1969 to 1981, when Harley's corporate overlords were more comfortable selling bowling balls than bikes. The era gets mocked endlessly, but here's the thing, the shovelhead survived it. Yes, AMF's mass production approach led to spotty quality control. Some bikes left the factory with mismatched bolts, warped heads, and oil leaks straight out of the gate. But rather than ruin the brand, it weirdly toughened it. Riders who owned shovels in the 1970s didn't just ride, they wrenched. They became mechanics, tuners, and fabricators because they had to. That built a culture of independence. Ask any old-timer, they'll tell you, if you could keep a shovelhead running through the 70s, you could fix anything. The engine made better riders not because it was perfect, but because it wasn't. The shovelhead started as a 74 cubic inch, 1,208 cc engine and later expanded to 80 cubic inches, 1,340 cc in 1978. Harley improved oiling, cooling, and cam profiles over time. The 80 CI blockhead version could make around 60 horsepower and over 65 feet-pound of torque, which was solid grunt for the era. Sure, modern Harleys make more power, but back then, this was American muscle on two wheels. The shovel didn't need to rev high, it made its torque down low like a small block Chevy with handlebars. You could feel it pulling from idle, that signature shove of torque that made you grin even when your mirrors vibrated into oblivion. And unlike high-revving Japanese bikes of the time, the shovelhead demanded patience. It didn't want to be rushed, it wanted to be ridden, and as one rider put it, you don't shift a shovel, you have a conversation with it. You can rebuild a shovelhead with nothing more than a socket set, a few curse words, and a garage that smells like oil and old memories. No laptops, no diagnostic ports, no software updates. Just metal gaskets and patience. It's a mechanical conversation, one that rewards those who listen carefully. That simplicity is part of its enduring magic. Owners often talk about knowing their shovel. They can tell when it's happy, when it's grumpy, and when it's about to shake something loose. Maybe it's that rear cylinder that always runs a bit hotter, or that one bolt that insists on escaping every few hundred miles. There's even an art to finding that perfect timing window where the idle sounds less like chaos and more like a blues rhythm on two pistons. Even today, many riders don't rebuild shovels out of necessity. They do it for peace of mind. Spending a weekend in the garage with a 1970s Harley is mechanical therapy, a kind of meditation for the restless. You lose track of time, your hands get filthy, and by the end, you've not only tuned an engine, you've tuned yourself. After Harley introduced the Evolution engine in 1984, the shovelhead quietly bowed out, but its legend only grew louder. Today it lives in that perfect middle ground between vintage and practical classic. You can still find parts at swap meets, online, or in the back corners of old Harley shops. With the right care, the shovel can run reliably enough to surprise riders of modern bikes. Collectors especially chase original FX and FLH models with matching numbers, and the late AMF era 81 to 84 versions are the most desirable since Harley had finally cleaned up its quality control by then. A well-restored shovel can easily fetch 10 to 20 grand, while custom builds, especially those dripping in chrome or bobber minimalism, can go much higher. But for most riders, it's not about the money. Owning a shovelhead is like owning a piece of living history. It's loud, temperamental, and full of stories. Pull up to a cafe on one and someone will wander over, maybe to compliment it, maybe to tell you how theirs once caught fire in 1979. Either way, every old rider has a shovelhead story, usually equal parts love, frustration, and pride. The Harley-Davidson Shovelhead sits at a crossroads in the company's story, a bridge between the shiny optimism of the Panhead era and the refined reliability of the Evolution engine. It represents a time when Harley wasn't chasing luxury buyers or tech specs, it was simply trying to survive. The Shovelhead was built with grit, perseverance, and that beautiful kind of mechanical honesty you can't fake. Every bolt told a story, every rattle had a reason, and every oil stain meant it was still alive. It wasn't the most polished or precise engine. That's exactly why it connected with people. The shovel's imperfections became its signature. Its sound wasn't just exhaust, it was identity. That deep, syncopated rhythm taught riders what it meant to feel the road instead of just ride it. It taught him how to wrench, how to improvise, and how to turn frustration into loyalty. The Shovelhead didn't need marketing campaigns or luxury brochures. It built Harley's outlaw image the hard way, one oil streak mile at a time. Even now, when someone fires up a well-tuned shovel, the crowd goes silent for a moment. It's not nostalgia, it's reverence. That uneven thump, that shaking frame, it's alive, and it reminds you why people fell in love with motorcycles in the first place. It might rattle your teeth loose, but also shake your soul awake. So that's why the Harley-Davidson Shovelhead is still legendary. It's more than steel and pistons. It's a time capsule of rebellion, resilience, and raw emotion. If you've ever ridden one, you know it's not perfect, it's alive. Which Shovelhead story do you remember most? Your first ride, your worst breakdown, or your biggest rebuild victory? Drop it in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still smells like 68 oil and freedom. Because legends don't fade, they rumble on.